Ladies and gentlemen, I am your planetary defense commander, Star-Lord New Thor 7. And I'm the guy who's going to give you the bad news when it looks like the bad news is possible and probable. And so, the big concern that I had about this big East Coast storm was in the instant freeze possibility. You roll through best case scenario, worst case scenario, you look at the variables, and then you do the best you can. And since Hurricane Matthew, I've been doing a pretty exceptional job. And when I have to go against the grain, I do. Though Bernie Rayno and another Weather Channel guy, I don't know his name off the top of my head, we're also talking about how the instant freeze is a big problem and possibility, because once this mixed precipitation storm clears through, you're going to get super Arctic cold freezing rain. And look at this pipe of moisture and rain that will be feeding up into the place that is about to get frozen. And for some reason, everybody likes to focus these days on the things that aren't necessarily that important, where I feel like you have to prioritize things. And so I was trying to warn about how not only is that the problem with this storm, but it will probably be the problem with the next 4 or 5 storms that follow in 4 or 5 day reload cycles. If you were paying attention last year, I think we got hit by 4 or 5 nor'easters in a month. And so there's no reason to expect that would go down. And so we're probably looking at a pretty scary pattern here. And so when the storm passes, it's going to stay frozen until the next storm comes. All right, let's run down. Michael Ventris is showing us on the 18th that, yeah, we are getting a mega super Arctic air plunge that comes after the sudden stratospheric warming. And so on the 18th, I was saying on Sunday, large portions of the East Coast could get flooding rain, and then soon after, instant freeze. And then everything stays frozen like a pond without power for until like Wednesday's thaw. I guess you can talk about politics to keep yourself and your family warm if you are going to ignore these warnings. And then it had 3 parts of the exact same thing. I was showing the evidence of a lot of rain and mixed precipitation, which would then be followed by the sudden super freezing air. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, 3.5 days after the storm, about 4 days, you get another one, almost the exact same situation, as the warm Atlantic air storm pushes in, and then once it's gone, it's going to refreeze. So it'll stay frozen until the next storm, and then it'll freeze again. And that may be a pattern we are locked into for a while. King of Weather Twitter, crankywxguy, I think agrees with some of that. I know he's been busy lately. Correction, it's 3 major storms and 3 possible instant freezes in the next 12 days. So this could be a potentially problematic situation. So even if this one storm isn't that problematic now, remember, it's a situation we have that we are now into that pattern. And that is why winter storm periods can be more dangerous than hurricanes. Hurricane can do a lot of damage at once, but a winter storm precipitation can accumulate. And here's another thing to note. When I go against the grain, where all of petroleum science likes to just only talk about carbon, I like to say the sun is the driver of all weather on Earth, and that the sun pours energy into the auroras, goes into the core, and that's how planets grow. And so that's why we get volcanic activity. And so I have been watching the Caribbean, and the heat in the Caribbean, saying it looks like we are going to have volcanic activity, and then on the 29th and 30th of December, 2 of the volcanoes in the islands began to steam. And so we are seeing that volcanic magma warmth move up. Okay, and that is important. Okay, yeah, I think because whether Twitter focuses on snow totals to please their base, the severe danger from a flood, then instant freeze, which will last until the next storm, which will also be followed by another freeze, is grossly under talked about. You're talking like -6 degree temperatures. And here I laid it out for you on the 20th. And I did this January 20th, big East Coast storm, sub-zero freeze East Coast. 21st to the 24th, everything stays frozen. You get your next big storm. It freezes. 24th to 28th, shit stays frozen. And then here you can see the volcanic magma heat is connected to the two convergence lines one by Hawaii and the other by the Caribbean. Both have volcanic islands there. And here where I'm talking about the big trouble, where on Sunday it's supposed to drop. Here it wasn't supposed to drop till freezing till 6 p.m. today. It is now 9:30 a.m. East Coast time, and the temperatures are dropping much faster than everybody predicted. And this is weather. This is Mother Nature. This is a bunch of dynamic processes that we don't fully understand. So you have to take best case scenario, worst case scenario. And I didn't want to exaggerate the storm because I have a reputation for having extremely high integrity and honesty, that if I tell you something, I'm not doing it for views, because heck, YouTube demonetized me because they don't want you talking about volcanoes in the sun. They want you talking about carbon. So I didn't get paid for this. And I make my money off donations and contributions, so if I was going to be lying, it wouldn't last very long. So this is what I'm saying. You get that heavy train going over New York and these areas right there, and then you're going to get the instant freeze after. And so that is what we are seeing. God, dear. I hope she's okay. She's smart. She's tough. Okay, so now we're caught up to today. And everybody's talking this morning, 40-degree temperature change in 24 hours are rare around here. We may pull it off between today and tomorrow. It may go faster than that. Cape Ann weather, and that was brought to us by Stephen Eckert. Cape Ann weather, temperature drops across the area reaching below 10 degrees in an hour or less. Now down to 32 degrees from 38 at 8:45. This is not a good sign across the board, so clean it now. Please tell all followers that roads will be icing up quickly. Already certain places around Cape Ann announced black ice. Caution, drive safe. 17 minutes ago, word of advice: if you're parked on the street in the Boston area and haven't shoveled out your car, I'd do it before the Arctic front comes through and literally deep freezes everything tonight. You'll be happy tomorrow 8 a.m. when you need to dig out, trust me. And so everybody's starting to realize that the deep freeze is moving faster and that a lot of this wet stuff is going to turn into ice, and we're talking over hundreds of miles. And luckily now the power outages haven't been that bad, but that's, the storm is still going on. Okay. And so Kayla, the KB weather, and that was about just about New York weather. KB weather, don't let the sun fool you. It's cold out today in Dufferin County. I can handle it if it brings this beautiful sun, and sun dogs, and rainbow rain. I love the sun. The sun is badass, and it drives all weather on Earth. Stand tall, dream big. I do. I dream of 1,000 years of peace on Earth with everyone. Capital weather game, 9:05 a.m. The winds are just getting started, but the cold air is already pouring in. After reaching 56 DCA just a few hours ago, it's now in the 30s. We're going to be in the 20s by the afternoon with wind chill digits by the evening. And so it is exceeding everybody's guess and prediction. Cranky Weather Guy, the king of weather Twitter, and who I recommend everybody follow his blog and his tweets, especially in timely situations. I will leave his blog linked in the information box, as I always do. Flip to rain occurred right around 3 a.m. for me in Southwest Plymouth, Massachusetts. I don't even know, what is the MA, Maryland? My mom's name is Mary. I wonder if Maryland is as beautiful as my mama. 3 inches storm total, snow. Before the switch, pre-storm ocean effect total 1/3 inch, full coating all surfaces. And so this mixed precipitation, it's been dropping rain and other things all night long. Looking at inversions there, cranky again. Not much left to discuss in this baby. Just running the course now. It's on rails. And here we're looking at the sun. We have another coronal hole about to face Earth, which will bring us a fast solar wind stream, which will make the atmosphere more energetic. The cool Tim Kelly, NBC Boston. Flooding began at Sleet Harbor, 8:45 a.m. And so you're getting some coastal flooding because we have a full moon, a super blood moon wolf. And so that's going to cause higher tides. Eric Fisher, freezing air has made it down to Norwood Sharon. Everywhere north and west of there is an icy mess. Will continue to seep southeast as the day goes on. Again, we got our Atlantic convective tail explosion. Guaranteed you got water spouts under those configurations to boot. So that is that stream that I was worried about that would move up into the New York and surrounding areas and cause it all to be very wet before the deep freeze that's going to last for 72 hours sets in. 42 minutes ago, IP switch from 33 degrees to 20 degrees in 40 minutes. This is the deep freeze we were talking about, that it can catch you off guard and that the models haven't been that dependable, I don't know, for like a year or two. So you got to count for the best case, prepare for the worst, and pray for the best. Wow, wind chills nearly negative 40 and sea smoke seen during the sunrise this morning in Minnesota. I mean, this is a pretty nasty Arctic blow down. Yep, got down to 21 in Monroe, New York, and now it's 27. Negative 57, and that was purchased by Frank A. Tom Zero. Negative 57 wind chills in northern Ontario, Canada this morning. Oh man, that is swimming pool weather for them. Every Canadian I hear of, they are tough as shit. I'm pretty sure they're half Bigfoot, though. I don't want to get them in trouble. You know, like full moon, they turn into werewolves, but Bigfoot wolves or Canadian wolves or whatever. But they're really nice and polite. So here I'm saying, I don't know. Like last year, at the very beginning of the year, I predicted we were going to see a record number of nor'easters because Mother Nature has been picking on the East Coast nonstop, regardless of season, for almost 2 years. And that my genius math, when everybody's scared to disagree with petroleum science, which has been in control for 134 years, and they have the media too, really, by the way, that I found that when you have the gas giants, we live in a solar system that all works together around our sun. And so, when I look back, and when all the gas giants on the same side of the sun, the balance is not there. So, North America gets volcanoes and earthquakes on the west coast and big earthquakes on the east coast. The biggest earthquake on the east coast, which was an 8.2, happened when all the gas giants were on the same side. And so we are seeing more earthquakes on the east coast now. And people are like, wow, this is weird. I'm like, no, it is not. If you take your eyes off the invisible carbon ball, it all kind of fits right in place. Which is why I thank God and everyone else out there who's done what they can to keep me alive, to keep bringing you guys the truth. Okay, so and I'm saying we could see, and we're seeing a reload pattern every 4 days. And so this could happen for like 2 months. So we're talking anywhere from 7 to 10 storms like this, with this storm freeze possibility over the next 2 months. I'm not a weatherman. I'm your planetary defense commander. And I still am getting over losing 5,000 Americans in Puerto Rico for Hurricane Maria. And I never want that total to be exceeded. I love you all. I care about you all. I don't want to lose a single person. I know that's weird. Everybody else is so concerned about politics and money. But it's just the way I am. Sorry. I had 2 Air Force dads, an amazing mom, fantastic family, and the best friends I could have ever asked for my whole life. So, I wouldn't have got this way without you. Okay, Cranky with a Guy again. Another North Pacific yayer with a couple stunning lows. We are on repeat. This is round 3 of such a configuration. Each led to active weather in the east downstream. We will see you in the second week of February. I wonder what Kati is doing right now. I don't know, man. Anybody, they can't really talk to me. And Cranky really talks to me because he's anonymous, you know? Everybody's scared to go against, quote unquote science. Even though science hasn't replaced the Hubble in 25 years, James Webb Telescope is like a turd. They got rid of the shut. Like, what has science done, man? Nothing. Not much in the last 20 years. That's another discussion right now. Anyway, our system advances and is set to align with favorite meteorological entity over the past week's time, sipping to and then along the thermal gradient. And so here's this volcanic magma Caribbean heat in midwinter I'm talking about that's pushing all the way up towards North Carolina. And I don't know if he meant to draw that X, but it is something to look out for. And when Cranky draws next, purposely or accidentally, is definitely worth watching out. And here I'm just talking about. I laid this out earlier. Uh-oh. Wind already. North Boston. Cooling has begun. This is not what I expected from yesterday. I did expect it from 2 days ago, though. We're definitely now in a cast situation. Anthony Siciliano. Here comes the thunder and the lightning. Yep. And in Austria, and this is a good example, like if it's going to do this in places, then that is the factor we're looking at. That if it's possible somewhere else, it could happen here. That is the worst case scenario that has already happened. So you got to look at it and prepare for that, in my opinion. Jason Furtado, Weather J. Temperature drop from 30 to 20 in about an hour. So, and like I said, I don't mean to brag, but since Hurricane Matthew, most of my weather observations have been totally spot on. So, I just do what I can. It's definitely a concern that deeper cold air will seep in faster today, especially away from immediate coastline. I just heard that temps in Natwick dropped several degrees in a short period of time. Could this temperature drop hit inside? Dada Boo, the Florida wave master. He was asking Dada Boo this question from NC Weather Hound. I hope y'all have your surfing long johns ready. Tomorrow morning, the cold is coming. Down into Florida. Like I said, this Arctic plunge is no joke. 25-degree drop in 6 hours coming for DC today. It's going to freeze hardcore until the next storm rolls in 100 hours and then rinse and repeat. People seem locked into, everybody's locked into a lose-lose situation, man. Everybody arguing or focusing on politics 24/7. They think that's a good idea. No, it is a lose-lose situation, man. That's why for 5 years, I've been talking about we all have to unite as one American family in the Americas. That includes North America, South America, Mexico, Canada, and everybody in the world to deal with these earth weather changes. It is not the end of times. It is not the end of the world. But Mother Nature and the solar system are going to sculpt our coastlines some more. And if we don't adapt to it and build cities in safe places, then we're going to lose a lot of people. And I point out also, corporations have taken out a lot of money in something called corporate-owned life insurance, where if their employees die, they get paid like $400,000. It's a really bad deal, but the media never talks about it. So they're almost investing in losing a lot of people. It's a bad idea, man. And so I wouldn't necessarily trust the corporate media, especially when on Friday they sold you some bullshit BuzzFeed story, and now they're telling you some other story to distract everybody, when this is the story. And here you go. The volcano magma heat is extending almost up to Virginia Beach. So as you can see your heat gradient here, and then you can see the pushing straight up there. Okay. So, and the world's debt pile is hovering near a record $244 trillion. That means that's cash, bro. So you got trillionaires on the planet. May not be in the books. They may not advertise them on Forbes top 10. But that is what you are dealing with, man. You better pray. I know that some of them are good, but I can't verify that all of them are. So I'm just saying, the people that control the majority of this amount of money are trying to get you to focus on being divided and conquered along racial lines, gender lines, religious lines, sexuality lines. I wouldn't fall for that bullshit. unless you want to. Free will, it's real. So, all right, this is my 20-minute update. I want to say thank you very much to the people yesterday who contributed and donated when I was down to like $1 in my account and I was hungry. You guys are fantastic. You guys have kept me at this every single time. But there are people who are like, get a job. I'm like, dude, I've been calling shots that are amazing. I'm so good at this. People get upset when I talk about how good I am at this. I'm not bragging. And I'm not bragging, I'm just telling the truth. Anyway, I survive and exist on your contributions and donations and prayers. So, if you would like to thank me and appreciate me for continuing to try to bring you the truth and to try to watch out for you, your family, your friends, and to try and bring us together for a beautiful future, I leave my PayPal link in the information box, and then be sure and go on your way to thank Cranky Guy, or just be nice to your local weatherman or anybody on the weather team, because the whole weather team is great, and they work together in a bind. And so I will continue to keep you guys updated on this. Stay cool. I know I will. I love you guys. Okay, peace out. God bless everyone. Let us live long and prosper together, and may the force be with us always.